The notification didn't look real. Full video released by Supreme Court. 3 words that stopped the internet cold. And attached to it, one more phrase that sent shockwaves through millions of screens. Alleged torture revealed. Within minutes, the name YU MENGLONG was trending again. Months after September 11, 2025 had already carved its emotional mark into public memory. But here's the question that changed everything. Was there actually a court-released video? Or was this another viral spiral born from grief, speculation, and the unstoppable speed of digital rumor? Stay with me, because in this deep dive you're going to get clarity. We're breaking down where the claim started, why the word Supreme Court triggered such explosive reactions, how legal systems really handle evidence, and why extreme phrases like torture spread faster than truth online. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just the rumor but the psychology behind why it took over the internet. It began at 1:43 a.m. A headline posted on a small blog claimed that a full official video connected to the events of September 11, 2025 had been released through Supreme Court proceedings. The article offered no direct document links. No official case number. Just dramatic wording and an embedded blurred thumbnail. That was enough. Within half an hour, larger accounts reposted the claim. The word Supreme Court gave it weight. Authority. Finality. People assume courts equal truth. And when the highest court is mentioned, the claim feels undeniable. But here's what most viewers didn't stop to ask. Which Supreme Court? What case number? What ruling? No formal documentation accompanied the viral posts. Still, panic spread. Comment sections flooded with shock. Some users demanded to see the footage. Others condemned it without confirmation. A few accounts began adding the word torture to captions, despite no official source using that term. That's when the emotional temperature skyrocketed. Because torture is not a neutral word. It's designed to provoke horror. And in an already fragile environment shaped by September 11, 2025, it felt explosive. Let's slow this down. In most legal systems, especially in high-profile cases, courts do not casually release full sensitive videos to the public. Evidence, when admitted, is often shown in controlled settings. Certain materials may remain sealed to protect privacy, national stability, or family dignity. The idea that a full graphic video would suddenly be published without formal press documentation raises immediate red flags. But online, red flags don't trend. Shock does. Within hours, fake thumbnails began circulating. Some were clearly edited screenshots from unrelated videos. Others were completely fabricated images designed to look official. The rumor evolved in real time. First, video released. Then, full video released. Then, torture exposed. Each step escalated intensity. Yet no credible public judicial record surfaced confirming such a release. So why did so many believe it? Because the grief from September 11, 2025 never fully settled. When tragedy lacks complete clarity, the human mind searches for deeper explanation. Extreme rumors offer emotional structure. They suggest that something dramatic must explain a dramatic loss. And extreme explanations feel more satisfying than uncertainty. The word Supreme Court added legitimacy. The word torture added horror. Combined, they created viral gold. But viral doesn't equal verified. Digital analysts later pointed out that the original blog domain was newly registered. No official court transcripts matched the claim. No government spokesperson confirmed the release. Still, the story had already traveled across continents. International commentary channels picked it up. Reaction videos analyzed pixelated screenshots. Hashtags trended for hours. And once again, the focus shifted from remembrance to speculation. Here's the deeper psychological layer. When people experience unresolved grief, they become more susceptible to narratives that promise hidden truth. It gives the feeling of control, of understanding, even if that narrative lacks evidence. There's also something about courtroom revelations that feels cinematic. We've been conditioned by films and dramas to expect dramatic evidence reveals, shocking confessions, explosive footage playing before a silent courtroom. Reality is often far less theatrical. Legal processes are structured, methodical, and heavily documented. If a Supreme Court releases something of magnitude, there is usually an official docket, press briefing, and legal summary. The absence of those elements speaks volumes. But in fast-moving digital ecosystems, absence often gets interpreted as secrecy rather than non-existence. That's the paradox. Silence fuels speculation. Speculation fuels clicks. Clicks fuel amplification. And amplification turns rumor into headline. The mention of alleged torture particularly inflamed emotions. It introduced a narrative of intentional harm without confirmed documentation. That kind of framing can deeply distort public memory and cause serious reputational damage. It also distracts from verified information. Instead of focusing on confirmed facts tied to September 11, 2025, conversations became dominated by unverified imagery and dramatic speculation. And that shift matters. Because once an extreme rumor takes root, it's difficult to reverse. Even after debunking efforts began, some users insisted the real video was being hidden. Others believed links were being removed deliberately. But removing fake content doesn't confirm authenticity. It prevents misinformation. There's a moment that captures the emotional intensity perfectly. A fan sits staring at their phone, torn between clicking a suspicious link and closing the app. They feel anger, confusion, a desire to know the truth. But they also feel doubt. That doubt is important. It's the line between curiosity and caution. Part 1 of this unfolding narrative isn't about shocking courtroom footage. It's about how quickly authority-based language can override skepticism. It's about how emotionally charged communities can become vulnerable to dramatic escalation. And it's about the responsibility that comes with consuming viral claims. The legacy of YU MENGLONG deserves reflection grounded in verified information, not sensational speculation. September 11, 2025 was significant enough on its own. It doesn't require exaggerated additions to remain impactful. As of now, no widely documented official Supreme Court publication confirms the viral claim of a full public video release containing torture allegations. That fact matters. Because responsible storytelling separates rumor from record. And clarity from chaos. Now I want to hear from you. Why do you think the phrase Supreme Court released full video spread so quickly without documented proof? Do extreme words like torture automatically make stories feel more believable or more suspicious? And in moments tied to tragedy, should audiences demand verified documents before reacting? The moment the word Supreme Court hit the timeline, everything changed. It didn't matter that there was no official case number attached. It didn't matter that there was no documented press briefing. The phrase alone carried weight, authority, finality, power. And when it was linked to the name YU MENGLONG, emotions that had barely settled since September 11, 2025 came rushing back like a tidal wave. Part 1 of this saga isn't about a confirmed video. It's about the explosion. It's about how 3 words triggered global shock in seconds. Picture this. A small, barely known blog publishes a dramatic headline in the middle of the night. The layout looks official: bold red font, a blurred thumbnail, a watermark that mimics legal formatting. The article claims that a full video connected to court proceedings has been released. It references a Supreme Court decision, but provides no official documentation, no link to a public record, no court transcript. But here's where it gets interesting. The headline is crafted perfectly for virality. It uses institutional authority. It uses urgency. It implies secrecy that has now been exposed. Within minutes, larger accounts begin reposting it, not because they verified it, but because they don't want to miss the wave. In the race for engagement, hesitation feels like loss. And just like that, the internet ignites. Comments pour in. Is this real? Why hasn't mainstream media reported this? I knew something was being hidden. Notice the shift. The lack of official confirmation doesn't create doubt. It creates suspicion. That's the psychology at play in Part 1. When tragedy is involved, especially something emotionally tied to September 11, 2025, audiences become hypersensitive to the idea of concealed truth. The mind starts connecting dots that may not exist. Silence feels intentional. Gaps feel suspicious. The phrase Supreme Court released full video spreads faster than any correction possibly could. And here's the deeper layer. Most people don't actually understand how Supreme Courts function. In reality, such courts operate with structured documentation, formal rulings, and publicly traceable decisions. Releases of sensitive evidence, especially in high-profile matters, are heavily controlled and usually accompanied by detailed legal statements. But on social media, structure disappears. Authority becomes aesthetic. If it looks official, it feels official. The original post had a grainy image stamped with what appeared to be a judicial seal. It wasn't verified. It wasn't traced. But it looked convincing enough in a small phone screen at midnight. That's all it took. Suddenly, reaction videos start popping up. Some creators claim they've seen clips. Others hint that the footage is too disturbing to describe. The narrative escalates with each retelling. No one provides documentation. No one provides court citations. Yet the rumor grows stronger. Why? Because emotionally charged audiences don't just want information. They want closure. And when closure hasn't been clearly delivered, any dramatic claim can feel like the missing puzzle piece. Here's where part 1 becomes truly mind-blowing. Digital analysts later observed that the blog domain pushing the headline was recently registered. The server location didn't match the country where the alleged court proceedings supposedly occurred. There was no mirrored press coverage from credible legal sources. But by the time those observations surfaced, millions had already seen the claim. This is how viral authority works. It bypasses verification by triggering emotion first. Shock overrides skepticism. And once shock sets in, people start defending the rumor as if it were fact, because admitting doubt feels like stepping back from a powerful emotional stance. The name YU MENGLONG trends again. Not because of new verified information, but because of digital momentum. Think about that. Momentum alone can resurrect a narrative. Part 1 shows us something critical. It's not the existence of a video that caused chaos, it was the suggestion that the highest judicial authority had confirmed something dramatic. That suggestion felt undeniable. Even without proof. The term Supreme Court is psychologically heavy. It implies final judgment. It implies access to ultimate truth. It implies that speculation has ended. So when that phrase appears next to emotionally loaded language, it short-circuits critical thinking. Another layer unfolded quietly. As the rumor spread, some posts began adding additional claims that weren't even in the original headline. Words like hidden, exposed, banned, started appearing. Each addition intensified the narrative. But none of these were supported by official records. This is escalation by repetition. The more a claim is repeated, the more familiar it becomes. And familiarity often gets mistaken for truth. By the next morning, international pages were referencing the rumor as though it were widely accepted. Some even framed it as confirmed, despite the absence of legal documentation. And here's where the emotional connection to September 11, 2025 magnified everything. That date already carries weight in public memory. It's tied to grief, unanswered questions, and unresolved emotions. So when a new claim suggests hidden revelations connected to that date, audiences feel compelled to pay attention. It feels important. It feels urgent. It feels like something that should have been revealed earlier. But feeling isn't the same as fact. In part 1, what we truly witnessed wasn't a court release. It was a digital phenomenon. A masterclass in how authority language can amplify unverified information at lightning speed. Another fascinating detail emerged as analysts tracked the spread. The majority of shares occurred within the first 2 hours. That's before any clarification could realistically circulate. That window, the first wave, is where most misinformation gains permanent traction. Because first impressions stick. Even when later corrections appear, the emotional memory of the original claim lingers. And this is where viewers like you come in. Part 1 isn't just about what happened online. It's about how we respond. When we see a headline tied to a powerful institution, do we pause? Or do we assume it must be true because of the authority attached? When we see a name that's already connected to tragedy, do we demand verified sources? Or do we let emotion guide us? These are uncomfortable questions. But they matter. Because the digital world rewards speed, not accuracy. And in cases involving real people and real grief, that imbalance can cause serious distortion. As days passed, no formal Supreme Court publication appeared matching the viral claim. No case docket was cited in official legal databases. No verified press release confirmed the dramatic headline. Yet some corners of the internet continued insisting that the truth was being hidden. And that reaction reveals something powerful. When people emotionally invest in a narrative, letting it go feels like betrayal. Doubt feels like weakness. So they double down. Part 1 of this saga becomes less about a supposed video and more about collective psychology. It shows us how easily digital communities can transform suspicion into certainty without documentation. And it challenges us to rethink how we process viral authority. Because in an era where headlines travel faster than evidence, the most radical act might simply be waiting for verification. Now I want to hear from you. When you first saw headlines referencing a Supreme Court release, did you immediately believe it? What made it feel real, the institution's name, the emotional timing, or the way it was presented? Do you think social media platforms should require documented sources before allowing such heavy claims to trend? And most importantly, how do we balance curiosity with responsibility when stories involve tragedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all, and your perspective shapes future deep dives like this. If this continuation helped you understand the real power behind Part 1, the psychology, the virality, the emotional pull, make sure you like this video so more people can see a thoughtful breakdown instead of just shock headlines. Share it with someone who's been following the saga. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter as we continue separating rumor from reality. Your voice matters in this conversation. Let's talk about it below.